Okay, docs. So now that you've set that up, we're going to go into the next point, which is explain what you're looking for, plus healing takes time seed. So let me go a little bit deeper on this. When you do your big reveal, ultimately you want to set up a scenario where the patient knows what they're looking for. This is like the education part of a report of findings. And all of you watching this are going to have a slightly different education process based on your philosophy and that which you're going to reveal in a moment, whether it's FSEMGs or postural photos or x-rays. But let me just make a key point. The education process right now is for the sale. So be careful to get too carried away from that. The purpose of this education process is to fully explain what they're about to see. Now remember, attention is important. So one of the biggest mistakes I see in this section is people rushing this. They won't realize they're rushing it. But what happens when you're a little bit nervous and when you feel tension, you feel like you want to get through this section really fast. And you speed up. The slower and the longer you take within context, within the right context. I'm not saying all of a sudden break character and speak completely differently to what you have been. I'm just saying don't speed up. You don't have to purposely slow down, but don't speed up. Really go through this. For context now, I'm just going to run through quickly what you should do. But let's, for example, show you are going to show x-rays. Typically what I suggest is you say, in a moment, I'm going to look at your x-rays. But before we do that, I'm going to teach you what you're looking for so you can tell me what's going on. And then we go through maybe an education process first. Remember what we spoke about last time, the brain controls everything in the body, sends messages down the spinal cord to every organ, tissue, cell, and gland in the body, right? That's housed in our spine and protected by our spine, and that needs to be in the right position. Do you remember what that was last time? And hopefully they can tell you, we've got our curves and from the side, our ischium, our shoulders, etc. Hopefully they can tell you that. Right, then you've done a good job on day one. Now, then, if we're going to show them x-rays, now in a moment I'm going to show you x-rays. Now here's what you're looking for, and then we're really going to explain how to read x-rays. Remember, language of a 5th grader here. These are the bones. They should be square. You see this dark area. That should be like that. That's the disc. That's the space. You see this area over here. That's the hole. The nerve comes out of that hole. Does that make sense? You're going to show them most impactful views, if you will, and specifically ending with the view that you're about to show them that has the most impact, right? So on your lateral cervical, you may show them exactly like I explained them cervical curve, etc., and go through the process. The key point here is that they need to be able to tell you what's going on in a moment when you show them x-rays. Now, you're going to teach them normal. The formula is teach them normal, then show them, if you will, bad. So if you have a DJD poster there or whatever you do your education with, this is a good time to say, this is what a cervical spine should look like, and this is what a bad one looks like, or phase 1, or phase 2, or phase 3 looks like. And in a moment, you're going to tell me what phase you think you are. What do you see here? Are those bones still in a good shape? No. What do you see with lateral lumbar? What do you see here? What's happening with those gaps we spoke about when the nerves come out? They're gone. Yeah, they are gone. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. So in a moment, don't forget, that's what some of the stuff we're looking for when we look at your x-rays. They need to tell you if they've got a significant head drop on one side. You want to make points of the things they're just about to see. This is why preparation is really, really important. And to have the upper hand and put yourself in a good position to do that. So we're going to show them good. We're going to show them bad. And then we want to do something called what I call a healing time seed, or something that sets up context that if you look like this, that will take time. You can do this in many ways, right? So if you could pick up a DJD model and you could show them specifically if you know that's going on when you're about to show them the x-rays. If they have a phase 2 or phase 3 generation, you want to pick up the physical model, get them to hold it, and then you may say what I call a healing time seed is, before we show you x-rays, to go from here to here might not be fully possible, but we've seen a lot of our patients go from here to here, and that takes time. Typically, that can take as long as, and you fill in the blank. I know there's a tiny little nuance, but an important part of the process where all the time we're setting context. We want to make sure that we push the boat out, or push the boat out there, if you will, so that they are fully already understanding that this thing takes time to heal. And remember, we just want to tell them the truth. So my CDP docs watching this have great research on this, to go from phase 1 to this, go to phase 3 to this, or phase 2 to this, takes X amount of weeks, months, etc. That's what we're looking for here. A healing takes time seed. Just a casual comment. So that is point number 3, which is explain what we are looking for, or education, and then we're going to do a healing time seed. Hope that was helpful. Take your time. Don't rush this. I'll see you at the next one, which is point number 4. Point number 4 is super simple, but people mess it up all the time. Listen, remember, if you've done this correctly, you have set up so much context now, you've built tension, you've showed them what they're supposed to be looking for, and hopefully you have a big reveal, which is an important part of the process, whether it's postural photo. Let's say the whole thing was done on postural photos. You have to show them what normal is, show them what abnormal is, and then do some type of healing time seed, right? To go from here to here takes time. That's really what's point number 3. Point number 4 is you're going to show them their problem. So typically it goes a little bit something like, are you ready to have a look at your x-rays? Yes, no, or results. Let's go through and have a look. Okay? And whether it's in the same room or a different room, we're going to show the x-rays, right? Or show the big reveal, the objective measurement, the thing that they've come there, the thing that come there to find out what their problem is. Remember, if we don't have a problem, why would they hand over, we can't find a problem, why would they hand over their hard-earned cash to you for nothing to solve, right? So this is where we get to reveal the problem. If you've done your education correctly and you show them what normal is and what abnormal is, they should be able to tell you in a moment what they're like. And that's typically what I lead with is, are you ready to have a look at x-rays? Click. So what do you see there? Wow. Now, key point. You want to lead with the most impactful x-ray view or postural view, the one that you know they're going to get the most. It may or may not be related with the biggest symptom that they've had, right? Let's say there's cervical headaches and there's lots of cervical curve and there's significant findings on that works out well. But perhaps there's something else going on that's very obvious and obtuse for them to see that will be the biggest impact on the x-ray. You may want to lead with that first. So that's just show them their problem. Now, whatever it is for you. Next, some of you, whether it's just functional stuff, you still want to show them their report, right? Now, probably the most important part of the whole report of findings, in my humble opinion, is what I like to call a test close. I wish I could, if you haven't experienced it before, I wish you could experience how little resistance there is to the sale off the back of a successful test close. And a test close, I was once taught that you should almost never have to ask a yes-no question. By the time you're asking for a commitment, you shouldn't be saying, would you like to do this, or are you going to do this? You should really know. And even when someone's selling from stage, for example, and just to give you a different scenario so you fully understand, they'll ask leading questions. They'll say, how many of you would be interested in something like that? And how many of you have ever thought about doing something like that? So they'll be able to see by the hands going up, like how warm the audience is to that particular product or a solution that they're just about to offer. So a test close is simply gauging how proactively they're involved in this process, and already essentially asking for the sale. And the magic question is, great. So John, I always ask all my patients at this point, as I said, the good news is we can absolutely, the bad news is there is a lot going. And as you see, the question I want to ask you is, John, how important is it for you to get this corrected, fixed, sorted, whatever you feel comfortable with saying? And pause. Now, if you've done your job correctly, they should say, very. And ladies and gentlemen, I can absolutely assure you that the resistance to the sale massively decreases off the back of that. Because remember, how important is it for you to get this corrected? And they say very. You're just going to give them the thing they asked for. Amazing. Fantastic. Let's go through to the next room and tell you how we do that. that is point number 4. It's as simple as that, but boy is that important. It takes some prep beforehand. It takes setting up the correct x-ray, the big reveal that's either related or not related to their symptom, depending on which is the biggest impact. And then test close. See you at the next point.